Welcome to aminacademy.com. Let us discuss about the Crusade of Nicopolis. The immediate threat to the Ottoman in Europe was the arrival of a new European Crusade army involving the major states of the West as well as those most immediately threatened by the Ottoman advance. Responding to appeals, Pope Boniface IX stimulated a crusade. Crusaders came to Buda from England, Scotland, Poland, Bohemia, Austria, Italy, and Switzerland, as well as from the lands of southeastern Europe more directly threatened by the Ottomans. In the spring of 1396, Sigismund led a large crusade force through Serbia, crossing the Danube River at Nicopolis and then capturing the Danubian towns of Vidin and Orsova, massacring all the Muslims they could find. When Nicopolis, the last major Danubian defense point still under Ottoman control, was put under siege, there seemed little hope for the small Ottoman garrisons defending it, but Bayezid brought together contingents from Anatolia and routed the attackers on 1396, with thousands of knights and their leaders being either killed or on the battlefield or drowned as they attempted to cross the Danube River. Thousands more were taken prisoner, including nobles from all over Europe, who were freed only after the payment of heavy ransom. The Ottoman victory over the Crusaders at Nicopolis increased European fear of the Ottoman while adding to Ottoman prestige throughout the Islamic world. Significantly, Bayezid was designed as Sultan or civil ruler of Islam. In response, thousands more Muslims began to flood into Anatolia and to enter Bayezid's service, including not only the Turkmen nomads but also many of those who had formed the backbone of governmental and economic life in Iran, Iraq, and Transoxiana, and who were fleeing the anarchy that followed the collapse of the Ilhanids and the invasion of Tamerlane. These elements gave Bayezid and his successors to form a new source of manpower with which they could rule as well as conquer an empire. Bayezid now faced a crucial decision of his reign. Should he take advantage of the victory of Nicopolis to move further into Europe? It would have been the logical thing to do if he was to carry on the Ghazi tradition, and this course was urged on him by the Turkmen notables led by the Chandrili family. On the other hand, his Christian advisors urged him to leave Europe alone so as not to provide a Turkish notable with new conquest and wealth, and instead to return to Anatolia to eliminate the Turkmen principalities that had survived so long as threats to his rear. Now, let us discuss further about the points of Crusade of Nicopolis. The Crusade of Nicopolis, also known as the Battle of Nicopolis, was military defeat for the Christian Crusaders against the Ottoman Turks on December 25, 1396. The battle took place in Nicopolis, Bulgaria, and was one of the last major crusades of the Middle Ages. The Crusade of Nicopolis was an attempt to stop the Ottoman Turks from expanding into Europe. The Crusades were led by the French, Hungarians, and other European allies and were assisted by the Venetian navy. The battle resulted in a catastrophic defeat for the Crusaders and brought an end of the Second Bulgarian Empire. The victory also discouraged European coalition against the Turks. The crusade, the Crusade of Nicopolis was prompted by several factors, including the fear of Ottoman control. The Republic of Venice feared that Ottoman control of the Balkan Peninsula would reduce their influence over the Adriatic, Ionian, and Aegean seas. Fear of Ottoman trade control. The Republic of Genoa feared that Ottoman control of the Danube and the Turkish Straits would give them a monopoly over trade routes between Europe and the Black Sea. Further about short notes about Battle of Nicopolis. The catastrophic military defeat for Christian knights at the hands of the Ottoman Turks on September 25, 1396. It brought an end of the massive international efforts to halt Turkish expansion into Balkans and Central Europe. After their victory of the Battle of Kosovo in 1389, the Ottomans gained control of much of the Balkans under the leadership of Bayezid I, known as the Thunderbolt for the swift movement of his army. This known as the Thunderbolt for the swift movement of the army. This development led Pope Boniface in 1394 to call for a crusade against the rising power of the Muslim Ottoman Turks in Southeast Europe. It responds to the Pope's call, noble from across Christian Europe eventually signed up for the venture, including large contingents from France, Burgundy, Hungary, Bohemia, Croatia, and Germany, and from the Knights Hospitaller, led by Sigismund, the King of Hungary. They embarked on the long journey to the Danubian fortress of Nicopolis in modern day Bulgaria. From the outset, the crusade was riven by disputes of precedence and status, and many of the leading officers refused to accept Sigismund's authority. The knights reached Nicopolis in the late summer, ill equipped to take the fortress by force. After weeks of siege, it was discovered that Bayezid was only hours away at the head of a large army. The Crusaders panicked, and despite a council of war, their actions were rash and uncoordinated. The French knights insisted on leading a charge, not fully knowing the size of the Sultan's army. The charge was initially successful, but Bayezid responded with his reserves as well as force of some 500 Serbian soldiers whose flanking attacks was critical to the Ottoman success. In their rush to secure the glory of victory for themselves, the French knight the French knight had become separated from their Hungarian support, and as Bayezid's counterattack, they were destroyed. The Hungarian tried desperately to support the French but failed to notice the outflanking move by the Ottoman Sipahis. A light cavalry enveloped the Crusaders were overcome. Sigismund was among the few to escape after the Battle of Bayezid had most of his prisoners executed. Losses: Ottoman Crusader considerably of 25,000, Crusader most dead or captured of 12,000 to 15,000. Finally, the Ottoman Empire conquered the Crusaders. we have done. So far we discussed about the Crusade of Nicopolis. We have done. Please subscribe our YouTube channel.